Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. Today we're digging into a company that's really right at the heart of the hydrogen discussion, FuelCell Energy. We've gathered the latest earnings reports, checked out the technical charts, and looked at the strategic news, all to tackle your question, is now actually a good time to buy FuelCell Energy stock? And just to be clear, we're talking about FuelCell Energy, the company focused on stationary fuel cells and electrolysis. If you find this helpful, please do subscribe, like, and hey, if there's a specific company you want us to look into next time, just drop a comment below. We do read them.
Yeah, FuelCell Energy is a really interesting one. It's a pure play in clean energy, which is, famously volatile. So it's a perfect example of that classic investment tension, balancing this huge long-term vision, hydrogen power everywhere against the messy day-to-day financial reality. Our mission today is to cut through some of that hype and see what the actual numbers and market signals are telling us about its health right now.
Okay, so let's jump right into the financials because there's a big contradiction here, right? If you look back, say, at the last full fiscal year, 2024, the picture wasn't exactly rosy. Revenue actually dropped about 9% year over year to $112 million. And the net loss, that got bigger, widened by almost 17% to around $129 million. So historically, kind of a tough spot.
That's the background noise, exactly, the anchor, if you will. But then, boom, the Q3 2025 report drops on September 9th. And suddenly, revenue surges 97% compared to the previous year. Hit $46.7 million for the quarter. The stock jumped 12% on the news.
Right, a huge jump. And that obviously gets attention. But I guess the question for someone thinking about investing is, why are they still losing money overall despite that massive quarterly win? Is that Q3 number sustainable or just, a blip?
That's the crucial question. And the persistent losses, the negative free cash flow, it's not really an accident. It looks like a deliberate strategy right now. Management is clearly prioritizing reinvestment, big time. They're pumping a lot of cash into R&D, specifically for their solid oxide and carbonate fuel cell technologies. Think of it like a tech startup in its early days. They're spending now to build the future platform, not focused on returning cash to shareholders through dividends or buybacks today.
Okay, so it's investment, not just operational inefficiency causing the loss, but how long can they keep that up? Spending money like that. When does that investment runway start looking a bit short?
Well, that's where their cash position comes in. It provides a cushion. Despite the operating losses, they reported, $236.9 million in cash as of the end of July 2025. That's a pretty decent amount of liquidity. It gives them room to maneuver, to push forward with this R&D without hitting the panic button immediately. It's like they're building a factory. The big cost is up front, hoping the production later pays off. They're using capital to build that future potential.
And a big part of that future potential, I guess, is tied up in their backlog. It's huge, right? $1.24 billion. How should we think about that massive number, especially when recent revenue has been so, up and down?
The backlog is probably the single most important indicator of future revenue stability here. Yeah, current revenue is jumpy, but $1.24 billion signals a pipeline of future work. And what's interesting, what you as an investor need to look at, is the type of work in that backlog. Sources suggest a good chunk of it is long-term service agreements, LTAs. Those LTAs mean predictable, recurring revenue, often with good margins stretching out over years. That's much more stable than just relying on big one-off equipment sales. So the backlog provides that sort of structural confidence underneath the quarterly noise.
Okay, that makes sense. The backlog is the foundation, the hopeful future revenue stream. So if that's the underlying support, let's pivot to the technicals. Are short-term traders actually seeing that potential reflected in the charts right now? What's the current picture look like?
It looks pretty strong, actually, from a technical standpoint. The stock's been trading roughly between $7.77 and $8.32 lately. And critically, it's holding above its key moving averages. The 50-day is down at $5.37, and the 200-day is around $6.25.
Right. And staying above those averages is generally seen as bullish, correct? It suggests the recent upward trend is holding.
Exactly. It tells you two things. One, shorter-term traders who watch the 50-day are likely in profit, which reinforces buying. Two, even the medium-term outlook, tracked by the 200-day, is positive. That helps sustain the uptrend we've seen over the last 3 months or so. And you see confirmation in the momentum indicators, too. Man-CD readings are positive, suggesting the upward move has legs. And the RSI, the Relative Strength Index, is sitting in that, let's call it, healthy bullish zone between roughly 59 and 63. Strong momentum, but not yet in that overbought territory where you might expect a pullback.
And the sources mention, 12 out of 17 technical indicators are flashing by? That sounds pretty decisive.
It does lean strongly bullish in the short term, and this is a big, we absolutely have to talk about volatility.
Ah, yes, the beta. It's high, isn't it?
Extremely high. It's currently 4.12. What that means, practically, is this stock is super sensitive to market moves, especially within the clean energy sector. If the sector index moves up 1%, FuelCell Energy could jump over 4%. Great on the upside, but it works both ways. It magnifies losses just as much. So the risk level here is significantly higher.
Gotcha. So high potential reward, but definitely high risk. What are the analysts saying about where it might go? Any consensus?
Well, the average 12-month price targets are clustering in the $8.13 to $8.78 range. So analysts see some modest upside from the current price, maybe 5–10%, but there are more bullish calls out there. The most optimistic recent target we saw aims for $12, but that's looking further out, into 2026. That kind of target really depends on them successfully rolling out these new technologies they're developing.
Okay, so financials are mixed, technicals look bullish but volatile. Let's talk strategy. What makes FuelCell Energy stand out? What's their unique angle in this pretty crowded clean tech space?
They've carved out a specific niche. They are really focused on commercializing two main things: stationary hydrogen fuel cells for power generation and solid oxide electrolysis for producing hydrogen. And they're aiming these technologies at really high growth areas. Think industrial decarbonization, capturing carbon emissions, and providing long duration energy storage.
Can you quickly explain the difference between those two platforms, the carbonate and the solid oxide? Because that's where all the R&D money is going.
Sure. So the carbonate fuel cells are their more established tech. They're good for large-scale, steady power, and they can be paired effectively with carbon capture systems. The solid oxide platform, though, operates at higher temperatures. This makes it very efficient, not just for generating power, but crucially for electrolysis using electricity to split water and create green hydrogen.
Ah, so electrolysis is the key. That opens up a whole different market, right? Not just selling power, but potentially selling hydrogen itself.
Exactly. It could be a second major revenue stream,
Yep.
selling hydrogen as a fuel or feedstock, particularly for industry or maybe even transportation down the line. That's a big part of the long-term vision.
And that focus seems to be paying off, at least partially, with that Q3 success. It was heavily driven by deals in Asia, specifically South Korea. Why is Korea so important for them?
South Korea is a key market right now. They have very supportive government policies, specific incentives, and, crucially, clear regulations for stationary fuel cells. That stable environment makes it easier to actually get projects built and contracts signed compared to some other places. That big Q3 revenue number was boosted significantly by their expanded work there, plus a major new deal signed in August with CG and Yulchon Generation. That deal includes advanced carbonate modules and, importantly, long-term maintenance services back to that recurring revenue idea.
Makes sense. And we're also seeing them talk more about data centers, right? Providing reliable, cleaner power for all that AI and cloud computing infrastructure. That seems like a massive potential market.
It absolutely is. Data centers need huge amounts of reliable power, and there's increasing pressure for that power to be low carbon. It's a natural fit for their stationary fuel cells. But okay, looking ahead now, let's talk catalysts. What are the specific things investors should be watching for in the next, say, 3 months? The events that could actually move the needle on the stock price.
Right. What are the concrete dates or events?
Okay, 3 main things to keep on your radar. These aren't just rumors. First, the Q4 2025 earnings report, expected around November 21st. That's going to be critical. We need to see if they can improve margins and if those big contracts are starting to show up consistently in the revenue. Second, keep an eye out for ETF rebalancing, likely around October 31st. FuelCell Energy is in several clean energy ETFs, and changes in its weighting can cause significant buying or selling pressure, just technically. And third, the deadline for big institutional investors to file their 13F forms is November 11th. That'll show us whether the big money managers were buying, selling, or holding the stock after that Q3 jump. It's a good gauge of institutional confidence.
Okay, earnings, ETFs, and institutional filings. Got it. And then there are the rumors, the market chatter. What's the speculation out there?
The rumor mill is definitely active. 2 big potential stories are floating around. One is about a possible large-scale partnership here in the U.S., maybe with a data center operator, using that efficient solid oxide tech. The other whispers are about a joint venture in Japan focused on hydrogen production. That would be huge, really expanding their footprint in Asia beyond just South Korea. But again, those are just rumors for now.
And underlying all of this is the policy environment, which seems generally supportive for clean tech.
Very much so. The CEO, Jason Few, has been quite vocal about the importance of legislation, like the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, OBBBA. The key part there is the reinstatement of the investment tax credit, the ITC, specifically for fuel cells. That tax credit makes deploying their systems cheaper for customers, which makes it much easier for FuelCell Energy to close those big multi-million-dollar deals. Government support is definitely a tailwind.
Okay, so lots of potential catalysts and supportive policy, but we have to balance that. Let's talk through the risks. We mentioned the volatility already.
Absolutely essential. We've highlighted the upside, but you have to understand what could go wrong, especially with that 4.12 beta.
So starting with risks specific to fuel cell energy itself, what keeps you up at night if you're holding this stock?
Profitability is number one. It just is. Those ongoing operating losses mean they're constantly burning cash. So execution risk is huge. If there are delays in getting that solid oxide technology fully commercialized and scaled up, or if they stumble in landing those major contracts needed to fill that backlog, the pressure mounts. And that leads directly to the risk of dilution. If they run low on cash and need to raise more capital by selling new shares, that reduces the value for everyone who already owns the stock. It's a very real concern for companies in this developmental stage.
Right. Dilution is always a risk with cash-burning tech companies. What about broader risks from the sector itself?
The whole clean tech sector is inherently volatile, as we said, and it's incredibly competitive. There's always the risk that some other technology, maybe advances in battery storage or a different, cheaper way to make hydrogen, could emerge and make fuel cell energy's approach less attractive or even obsolete. That heavy R&D spending, it's basically a bet that their specific mix of carbonate and solid oxide tech will be among the winners. It's not guaranteed.
Okay, so putting it all together, the mixed financials, the strong but volatile technicals, the catalysts, the risks, the sources we looked at seem to come down on a fairly bullish overall thesis, rating it quite highly, like an 8 out of 10. Why such confidence despite those clear headwinds?
I think the core rationale is about timing and positioning. The view is that fuel cell energy is strategically placed right at a potential takeoff point for the broader hydrogen economy. The technical strength we see now suggests investors are currently buying into that story, holding the line after the positive Q3 news. And they have that clear pipeline of potential good news earnings, possible big deals, all built on that substantial backlog.
So the idea is that it could appeal to different types of investors, maybe short-term traders playing the momentum and upcoming catalysts, but also long-term investors betting on the whole hydrogen theme playing out.
Exactly. It seems to offer potential on both time horizons. But, and this is the crucial takeaway for either type of investor, constant monitoring is key. Given the volatility and the cash burn, you absolutely have to keep a close eye on their execution, especially on rolling out that solid oxide tech, and watch how quickly they're going through their cash reserves.
All right, so as we wrap up, here's something for you, the listener, to think about. We talked about policy support like OBBBA, the huge potential in data centers, and those rumors swirling around. Imagine just one of those big rumors gets confirmed, say, that major U.S. utility partnership. What could that realistically do to their $1.24 billion backlog? Could a single deal like that actually push the stock toward or even past that $12 bullish target much faster than analysts expect?
It's a potent question. It really highlights the kind of asymmetric upside that could be possible here, even with the risks. And just a final standard reminder. All the numbers and details we discussed are based on public info available as of late September 2025. Things can change fast. Always check the company's latest SEC filings yourself before making any investment decisions.
Absolutely critical advice. Okay, thank you for joining us for this look at fuel cell energy. We'll catch you on the next one.